Welcome back. If this is your first time with us, welcome. We're excited you're all here today for another episode of Cooking Connected. My name is Jordan. Joining me today is my coworker, Sajwa.
Hi, everybody.
And one of our volunteer chefs, Chef Jeff.
Hi there.
So normally a Cooking Matters class is a 6-week nutrition-based cooking class that meets in person for 2 hours for once a week. In classes, we have a chef and a nutrition educator that work together to teach our participants how to prepare a healthy, delicious, affordable meal, and also a little bit about nutrition as well. Today, we're going to follow that same format, except virtually. Today, Chef Jeff is going to be showing us a new recipe. He's going to be showing us how to make, excuse me if I mispronounce this, I apologize, Tsukune, which is a Japanese chicken meatball skewer. So just like every week, we also have a survey for you all to take. So if you could please take that survey, we would greatly appreciate it. And you can find the survey link in the description box of our video, and we'll also post it in the live chat here in just a few minutes. We love hearing from our viewers. So we ask after this video, you go ahead and take that survey. For this, you will need a program code, which I have right here. This week's program code is E101829. Again, we appreciate that feedback. It really helps us continue this work in the community and make our videos a little better every time. So with that, let's go ahead and get started with today's recipe. I'll pass it over to Sajwa and Chef Jeff.
Alrighty, thank you, Jordan, so much for that introduction. Hi, everybody. Today we're going to be doing Tsukune, and we think we're saying that right, but if we're wrong, we'd appreciate the correction.
I think it's spelled Tsukune. Tsukune.
Tsukune.
Tsukune.
But I do like the way that you call them chicken popsicles.
Chicken popsicles. Let's go with that then.
And that makes them really fun for kids too. So that's a great adaptation to it. But before we get started with today's recipe, let's review a couple of basics before we get in the kitchen. And anytime you're cooking any recipe, you guys, please make sure that you're washing your hands. You want to wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. You can sing the ABC song or the happy birthday song twice. Get in between your fingers like so. Make sure you're getting those wrists, underneath your nails, and around and under any jewelry that you might have on around your hand area. The next thing you want to do is make sure you have a clean and sanitized space. So clean, meaning you've removed any visible debris or dirt or anything. And then sanitized, meaning you've used a disinfectant spray to get rid of any bacteria or germs on your surface area. Now I'm going to pass it to Chef Jeff, and he's going to take us through the recipe and explain a little bit about what we're doing today.
All right. Thank you very much. Glad to be here, be with you guys. So today, we're going to take a meatball recipe that's Japanese. And they have something, it's yakitori, when they put it on sticks, wooden sticks, and then they grill it. Well, today we're going to kind of shape the meatball, and we're going to put a popsicle stick on it. So it looks like a popsicle. And we're calling them chicken popsicles is what we're calling them. And then we're going to take them outside and grill them. So for the ingredients, it's really simple. And you can use pretty much anything you want to. I mean, if you want to make an Italian chicken popsicle, or if you want to use pork or lamb, beef, anything like that, sure, you can use those ingredients as well. And you can add a whole bunch of things. I'm just making it a little bit simple today and following the recipe that I learned a while back. So here we have 1 pound of fresh ground chicken. And here is a mixture of green scallions that I've fine diced. And the recipe called for shisho, which is a garnish that they use. And it's also has a slight mint, it's in a mint family. So I have some Asian mint in my garden. So I just finally chopped up that. And in this bowl, I have a mixture of some miso, some red miso, about 1 tablespoon, 1 egg yolk, some fresh ground ginger, and about a teaspoon of soy sauce. So I'm just going to mix this together, get it all mixed really well so that it blends really well, because we will add this to the fresh ground chicken. We want to blend this really well before we put it in there, because this paste, this miso paste needs to be blended really well before we put it in there with the chicken. I'm just going to mash this around and just using a plain fork, moving it around, trying to mash it up. Get everything blended really well together. And like I said, you could add onion powder to this if you wanted to, some garlic powder if you want to, lemon pepper, anything that you like. Some, if you don't have fresh ginger, then you can always add some ground ginger. I'm just going to add a pinch of salt, not 2 pinches of salt, just like that. And then I'm going to pour this right in here. Get a spoon. And have this. Okay, that's about good right there. Should get all those flavors in there. Use this wooden spoon to kind of get it started. Because eventually we are going to use our hands to finish this off. So I'm just going to blend all these soy, the egg, ginger, all this together. And I'm going to add, this is roughly about a half a cup of scallions, the green onions, just the green parts, and the Asian mint. I also added some garlic chive too, because I have that in my garden. So I'm going to go like this a couple of times, get it kind of well blended. And this mint and the green onions, when it cooks in there, it adds a really nice spring freshness to it. So now it's blended like that.
Depending on what flavor you guys are going with, you could also use a little bit of cilantro if you like. I like that in a lot of foods. I think that could be fun.
That's a good idea. Yes, it is. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 30 times to the right, and then I'm going to go 30 times to the left, because we need our body temperature to kind of loosen up the fat that's in there. So I'm going to count to myself. I want to brag. So I'm mixing this around like some. You want to use your hand, fingers, get that fat that's in there warmed up. That'll help bind it and keep it together on the stick. So now I'm going to go the other way 30 times.
And for parents who might be cooking with kids, this is a great opportunity to practice our numbers. You can have your young ones count with you if you're uncomfortable with them handling the chicken. Otherwise, if you are comfortable, they certainly can. You would just need to be extra careful. We're working with meat, so you'd have to be extra careful making sure hands are getting washed and that we're not touching all over the kitchen after handling it.
Yeah, very important. So next I'm going to clean off my fingers. Then I'm going to divide this up into 4 pieces. Like I said, this is 16 ounces, 1 pound of chicken. So I'm going to divide this up into 4 portions.
Chef, we do have a question in the chat here.
Okay.
Do you need to worry about overworking the meat and making it tough when you do this?
No, this works beautiful. It keeps it really nice and juicy, actually. because we're going to sear it on the outside. You can broil this in your oven if you want to, but it's summertime, so I'm going to grill these outside, okay? And I like, it's still a pretty nice day outside. It's kind of cloudy, but it's still, I think it's still going to work. So divide that up in half. And then I'm going to divide this in half, separate them out. Or if you have a 4-ounce Disher's ice cream scoop, you can do that same thing too if you want to. So got that. Ready to go. Okay, so put that there. I've got some parchment paper. And I'm gonna let me wash my hands off just a minute with soap and water for 20 seconds. Because I'm going to spray the parchment paper, help keep it a little bit slippery. I wanted to rinse off the chicken before I actually started washing my hands. Okay. So I've got my baking spray. So I'm going to spray this off. Like that. Then what we need to do is we need to take some sesame oil. I'm just going to put about a tablespoon or teaspoon in my hand because this will keep our hands a little bit slippery and it's easier to form the shape that we want. That's going to be a popsicle. So grab a scoop so it comes out really nice and clean like that. So I'm going to press out as much of the air as possible. I'm going to make it form a ball. Just roll it around in my soy scented oil. I mean sesame oil, not soy, sesame oil. And I've been soaking popsicle sticks for about an hour. They can burn on you, especially if you're in a broiler.
That's a great tip. I didn't know that.
So I soak those for an hour. I got those at Walmart. They're $1 for 100 of them, okay? So it's pretty inexpensive. So I've got that there. Smells good with that. I mean, that sesame oil is very, very strong. You know, one drop will overdo a recipe. One extra drop will overdo a recipe, I should say. So like I said, I'm rolling it around, trying to get as much air out as possible.
Even though you use sesame oil, could we use any kind of oil on our hands at that state, or?
Sure, you could. Yeah, you can. You can use canola.
Are you just using the sesame for the flavor?
Pardon?
Are you just using the sesame for that extra flavor, or?
Yes, add the flavor definitely.
Okay.
Because it's quite pungent, it's quite strong, and since yes, it's it's used in Asian food, I also use that. You could also just wet your hands if you want to. I believe that works out quite a bit as well. Okay, so that's 2. So like I said, roll them around. Try to get as much air out. And just in case, I also made some little foil handles to prevent burning of the stick as well. I'll put those on in a second. Normally what I will do is after I've formed them, I will put them in the freezer for about at least 10 minutes. That way it helps keeps the shape Okay, so you want to make sure that they're all the same thickness too, so they cook evenly. Okay, so I've got these. Wash my hands off again.
Those look incredible, Jeff.
Thank you very much.
So I know that you're planning on grilling yours, but you mentioned putting it in the broil.
Yes, you can broil these. Set your oven rack up to the top, and set it on broil, and they will take about 6 minutes on each side.
Oh, that's really quick.
So anyway, I've got kind of made these. So I'm just gonna fold it over. So anyway, this is going to help prevent the wooden stick from burning.
You think of everything.
Got to plan in advance, definitely. Yes.
Yep, that's part of that mise en place, you guys.
Very, very important. All right, so this is about right. Like I said, I would normally put these in the freezer for a little bit so they set up, but I'm going to take these out to the charbroiler.
I do have another quick question.
Okay.
If we were to use a more fatty meat, like for example, a beef or a lamb or something like that, would that change anything in the recipe? Is there anything that we would have to think about if we were to do that?
You might consider adding I use the egg yolk. You might want to use the whole egg, and then maybe consider using a binder like the breadcrumbs, whether panko or Italian flavor or just plain breadcrumbs. Okay, let's go. Ouch. Oops, I gotta disconnect this phone. It's kind of awkward right now. My assistant is a little bit under the weather today.
We're going on a trip, you guys, out to the grill. Yeah, I don't know if you guys had a chance, but I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, we did a video on grilling. Jeff showed us so many awesome tips and tricks for using the grill. And we grilled, oh man, so many things. We had a grilling bonanza that day. So there was a lot going on. Definitely check that video out if you want to learn more about the grill. You want to learn more about how to set it up and different things that you can grill, because there's quite a lot. It's not just meats. Uh-oh, Jeff, you're muted on your phone. We'll have to just unmute the phone.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Your phone is muted.
Oh.
I think you were talking out there, but
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, can you hear me now?
There you go. Perfect.
Okay, good. All right. So, just going to take these up. That's, oops, my spray. What do you do with it? Let's put that.
And for this recipe, would you recommend having the grill on high, medium, or low?
All right, there's that.
Oh, you didn't hear me.
There's my thumbs. Okay. So here we have some already made. So this is a sauce. Oops, I need to microwave it. This is a sauce. It's really thick right now. I need to microwave it again. You put it on here. Let me go microwave it real fast. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, while Jeff is in there microwaving and we're waiting on the rest of the skewers, I'm just going to talk to you guys a little bit about keeping it safe in the kitchen today. We've covered washing our hands. You guys should know by now it's 20 seconds. You can sing the ABC song or the happy birthday song twice. But along with that, you want to make sure that you are cleaning your equipment, counters, cutting boards, dishes, all of that stuff with some nice warm soapy water. You could always make a sanitizing solution by mixing a 1/4 teaspoon of unscented bleach with 2 cups of water. And then you can use that to sanitize your kitchen and, you know, the other surfaces that might be germy. You can also make another kind of sanitizing dish water, a dish rinse by mixing 1 tablespoon of bleach with 1 gallon of warm water, not hot water. So those are just some things that you can do to help with cleaning. Another way to keep it safe in the kitchen is to make sure that you're keeping your meat separate from other foods, even when you're shopping. So if you are in the meat section at the meat counter, perhaps putting your meat in one of those separate bags or bringing a bag of your own to make sure that in case any leakage is happening, it's not touching your fresh produce. Another thing you can do is use a separate cutting board for meats and vegetables. In my home, I have different colors to indicate whether it's going to be for vegetables, green, or meats. A different color will work fine. Also making sure that you are washing those cutting boards. That's a very important thing to do. Get in there and scrub it really well, especially if you're planning on allowing a cutting board that was once in contact with raw meat or poultry to come in contact with fresh. That's a big no-no. Make sure you're cleaning those cutting boards. As far as cooking things, make sure you're cooking your meat, poultry, eggs, fish, and shellfish thoroughly. Whenever you're reheating leftovers, make sure you get them until they're steaming hot. So that's going to be at 165 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can always grab a kitchen thermometer to test that. And then also whenever you are reheating things like sauces or soups or gravies, it's always a great practice to bring them to a boil when reheating. That way we know it's safe to eat and it's been heated all the way. I did mention cooking your meats and such to a good temperature. So for steaks and roast, definitely want to get that to at least 145. I have here chicken at 165 degrees Fahrenheit, pork 145, fish 145, and egg dishes like perhaps a frittata or a quiche 160. I know this wasn't comprehensive of all kinds of things that you could be cooking. So if you're doing something different, like maybe a lamb or, you know, any kind of thing like that, you can always look it up online, making sure that you get the correct cooking temperature for that item. And then another thing I wanted to cover was chilling your foods. Make sure that you refrigerate your foods quickly. So those perishable things like milk or eggs or any kind of products like that, you don't want to leave them out at room temperature for long periods of time, especially if it's 90 degrees or hotter. Make sure that you're thawing your meat at the bottom shelf of your refrigerator on a plate, and you never want to thaw your meats on the counter. Now, that's not a good thing to do. You can also thaw meats in the microwave using the defrost setting on your microwave. You can take a look at that or look in your instructions manual for that if you need more direction. But if you are going to do that, plan to cook it immediately. Some areas may become warm and begin to cook during microwave defrosting. So you don't want to let that sit for a couple of days, because then that makes it really, really dangerous to eat later on. I still got a little time here. It looks like I do. I'm going to just cover a few more things. As you'll notice today, we used a lot of herbs and seasonings today. We used a couple pinches of salt in our recipe, which always helps to bring out the rich flavor of the herbs and spices that we add into our food. But you do want to make sure that you're seasoning with those herbs and spices instead of salt, sugar, and fat as your only flavoring. These herbs can add a lot of flavor and aroma to veggies, meats, even beverages, you know, and that can happen without adding calories. And a lot of these herbs have antioxidants, which make them really good for the body. So there's kind of a double duo there. So keep that in mind. Your herbs can be fresh, like some of the things we use today that Jeff had in his garden. They can be dried, like dried seasonings, and they can even be frozen. Freezing, keep in mind that freezing your herbs does change the color of them, but you know, they're still usable if that's something you need to do. Are you ready there, Jeff?
I am. Can you see this? Can you
no, we actually lost that camera there.
Okay.
So, oh my goodness.
Can you see it or not? Should I?
Yeah, we can see it there. They're just listening those chicken popsicles.
Is that better?
That's awesome. Oh, that's perfect. And guys, we will post a photo of the results on Facebook. So check us out where you guys can see a real clear image of what Jeff has done for us.
I did cook these. I took the temperature of them. They're 187 degrees, which is what all you need to do is cook them to 165 degrees for chicken, for ground chicken. The interesting thing is I bought two different kinds of ground chicken. And one of them said, cook it to 175 degrees.
Oh, wow.
For chicken patties. And the other package says, cook thoroughly. So anyway, go for something like this, 165 degrees is fine. You cook it more, it's just going to dry out. Now, if it was going to be like a stuffed chicken, then you definitely want to cook it to at least 180 degrees. But we're not stuffing a chicken, but that's a different story right there. So anyway, I made this sauce. It's a Yakitori sauce, tare, and it's soy sauce, mirin, rice wine, vinegar, and some brown sugar, and you it's like equal parts of soy sauce and rice wine vinegar, half a cup, and then about a quarter cup of the mirin, and then sake as well, about a quarter cup of sake and some brown sugar, and you reduce it down. That's why it was so thick. Okay, it'll last a long time. Keep it in the refrigerator, and you can glaze this. Wow.
That's awesome. Yeah, they look really tasty, Jeff.
They really do. Well, thank you so much, Jeff. That is a beautiful recipe. I'm looking forward to trying this one. I love how versatile it is. You can, change up anything in it, which he said in Italian, and it's very kid-friendly. So awesome recipe. Thanks again, Chef Jeff. Yeah. Thank you, Sajwa, for that amazing nutrition.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciate that. So thank you all for watching today. Please don't forget to take our survey. That is in the live chat. It is also in the description box below the video as well. So please take that survey. Again, today's survey code is E101829. So if you could please take that survey, we greatly appreciate it. Otherwise, we will see you next week, next Thursday at 2 p.m. for our next episode of Cooking Connected. We hope to see you all then. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good week. Be safe on the 4th of July.